Now I'm stuck with this pain. There's something that I can't let you go with. A broken heart is something I can't cope with. Sick feeling in my heart, and then the sun goes down and it's getting darker. That's when I start to realize you're a fire starter. There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch, and it's bringing me out the dark.
Hey, folks, welcome to B&B's Football Happy Hour. We are back. We are bearded. We are beautiful. I'm Bobby. That's my man, Brian.
What's going on? Glad to be back for number 12.
I believe so.
12.
We have an awesome show set up for y'all. We're going to get things started, firing people up, talking about our players we think are most overrated in the NFL this coming season. And then we have a very special guest coming on, another former NFL player for your listening pleasure. So I'm ready to roll with that.
Yeah, sounds good. Again, last week we crossed into the 500 people marker. I think we have 520 now. So we're back on our pace of 15 to 20 people a week. So hopefully everybody will keep sharing it. And I'm sure the more big time guests we have on, the more people will hop on board. So.
Oh yeah, and we're selling more and more T-shirts. So I know just this past weekend I sold several. So if you if you're interested, you want one, hey, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, music as always provided by our man Dunson.
All right, let's. You gonna give us the first one? Number one,
All right.
Overrated player.
Yep, and my first overrated player is definitely going to end up in the Hall of Fame by the time it's all said and done, and that's Rob Gronkowski. Now I know I know it's tough to put arguably the greatest tight end in the history of the NFL in this discussion, but here we are. To back up the GOAT argument, he has the most touchdowns per game by a tight end on average. He has the most touchdowns in a season by a tight end. And he is second all-time in touchdown receptions in a postseason behind only Jerry Rice. He also has 5 Pro Bowls and 4 All-Pro nods under his belt. But we're not talking about previous Gronk. We're talking about today's Gronk. And today's Gronk is beat up. Did you know, Brian, that he has not played 16 games in a season since 2011? That dude's been injured. He's basically been injured for a decade. And I know he had a year off, but I can't imagine that year helps him heal his entire body. Once your body starts declining, I know anyone over the age of 30 can attest that that is a very steep and slippery slope. 1 minute you're playing pickup basketball with your buddies for 3 hours, and the next minute you can't stand up straight because you sneezed wrong. It's rough. So I've also been reading articles that think Gronk's going to be a Pro Bowl player this year, and that is crazy to me. There's even some websites where, for fantasy football, he's being drafted as the 6th overall tight end coming off the board, ahead of guys like my man, Evan Ingram, your guy, Hayden Hurst, Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, a bunch of other people. Now, even before his retirement, his production started to drop. His last 2 seasons, 2017 to 2018, his receiving yards per game went from 77 to 52. That's 25 yards a game. That's fairly significant. Plus, I haven't even gotten into all of the extra weapons that Tampa Bay has that, they're going to need to see the ball. So he's not going to get all those looks that he got when he's playing for the Patriots. So there are lots of reasons why Gronk, granted, one of the greatest players of all time, but he is very overrated this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like you said, we're not talking about the Gronk of 2012 and on or whatever like that. But, yeah, as far as 2020 Gronk, taking the year off, like you said, I don't think helps him a whole lot. I mean, the guy lost like 40 pounds, it looks like. I mean, he was pretty skinny. So
now they said he gained it back. They said he's at like 250 now.
Yeah.
Which is still like he usually played at 265. Mm-hmm. But still, you took a year off. How'd that work for Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah, it didn't. So, yeah, I can see Gronk, especially with all the other weapons, like you said. I mean, Brady's never had the options in New England like he will this year. So, I don't think Gronk will put up those I don't think he'll put up the Patriots stats. I mean, he might catch 4 or 5 touchdowns, but, he's not going to put up the 1,000 yards.
in order to make a Pro Bowl, like these articles I'm reading, he's going to have to do that. And I just can't see it. Now, I think you mentioned earlier, like you could see Gronk getting, 8, 9 touchdowns. And yeah, I could probably see that. But I think he's definitely going to succeed from the 20 to the goal line. But what's he going to do from the 20 to the 20? That middle of the field, I mean, I don't even think he's going to be on the field that much. Now, granted, maybe he still has it as a run blocker, but I just don't see him contributing enough in a passing game to be anywhere near what these crazy folks think he's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this year he'll be a good target. He'll be a good red zone target, and he'll be a good decoy, I think.
I mean, he even said in an interview, like, about coming back that, yeah, by the end I was hurt, I was beat up, I lost my fire, took a year off, but now the fire's coming back. Man, does that competitive fire ever stop? I mean, I know, like, Michael Jordan, he's one of the most competitive people of all time. He stopped basketball, but he still was playing a professional sport. You know what I mean? His fire never stopped burning. And I don't know if your fire stops burning. are you giving it that extra in practice that you need to be a top player at your position? I don't know. I don't see it. I think once that fire burns out, man, it's going to be tough to get that thing burning again.
Yeah, I think he'll have a decent year, but nothing like we're used to. So I wouldn't go picking him ahead of any of those in the top 5 tight ends for fantasy football. So
he won't be on my team, that's for sure.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't take him, but I'm not gonna take him early. Maybe round 10 and above, possibly. Back up.
You can have him, my friend. He's yours.
All right, my first guy here is a guy we've spoken about a few times. Old Kirk Cousins just doesn't do it for me. Guy just can't win. I mean, he can beat every team that's bad, any team that has a winning record. I mean, the guy struggles. He's 1-2 career in the playoffs. He's 7-15 in primetime games, 0-9 on Monday Night Football, and he's 17-26 on the road in his career. So, if you're a bad team and you play him at home, he'll probably beat you. But other than that, he just doesn't do it for me. I mean, he's just kind of plain. I don't know how he makes the amount of money that he does. I mean, he must have a good agent. I don't know who his agent is, but must be one of the best in the game because, I mean, he's getting these fully guaranteed contracts for $28 and $30 million a year. I said he just made $28 million last year, and then he just signed a 2-year, $66 million extension with a $30 million signing bonus. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, he's just he just doesn't do it for me. He's nothing exciting. He doesn't win you at big games. I don't know. I just don't like Kirk Cousins, and to me, he's just overrated as can be as a quarterback.
And Kirk, he's just a steady Eddie. I mean, he's going to give you what he's going to give you, and it's the same always. I mean,
nothing ever changes.
It's just that's what I'm saying. Like there's really no, some guys have hills and valleys, but it's just man, I feel bad for him because I like the guy and I want him to do well, but he doesn't. And I'm with you, man. I don't know how he's getting all this money. Good for him, honestly. If you can do it, do it. But you're right. He doesn't perform on a big stage. I mean, 0-9 on Monday night. Gosh, but the Vikings knew that before they signed him. That's who he was in Washington.
Yeah. It's just,
I mean, he didn't change. He wasn't going to develop into some great, fantastic player. He is who he is. And, I mean, it doesn't help that Mike Zimmer wants to run the football in Minnesota every play. They got Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison, taking up who knows how much percentage of the offensive plays. I'm with you, man. And he's had weapons. I mean, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs. You'd think with those two guys out wide and Kyle Rudolph in the tight end and Irv Smith the last year or two, you'd think he would have done, a lot better and jumped up the QB rankings. But it just hasn't happened, and I don't think it ever will.
Yeah, I mean, he just pretty much does the same thing every year. I mean, just the stats are pretty much the same every year. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't get any better. It doesn't really get any worse, but just stays the same, keeps making money. And I mean, like you said, I mean, they lost Diggs this year, but you replace him with Justin Jefferson. But I mean, you're replacing a proven player with a rookie. So, I mean, you don't know how that's going to work. He could start off slow. Jefferson's pretty good, but yeah, it might take him a few weeks. So it's definitely not going to help Cousins week 1, So he'll be out there with Irv Smith and Thielen and Dalvin Cook. So we'll see how it goes. And I read a quick article on Forbes magazine. It said Kirk Cousins made in 2019 with endorsements and his salary, he made $61 million last year, which is the ninth most. So, which is the ninth most of any athlete in the world, one spot behind Tiger Woods.
My gosh, good for you, Kirk.
Yeah, I mean,
Man, what's his famous quote like? How you like that, or what is it?
I don't know how you like that. Yeah,
gosh,
he must. I should have looked up who his agent was, because that guy needs. I mean, he should be cutting him like double the percentage.
No kidding. Man, he's just safe, Maybe he's like that. I don't know, like that girl you date, and it's like you're afraid to break up with her because you're worried about what else is out there.
Yeah,
it's safe, and he's safe for the Vikings. And I don't know, maybe they're worried about if they get rid of him or if they have somebody else in there, they won't do the bare minimum, which is basically what Kirk's doing.
I don't know. I'm just not a fan. I don't know.
All right, man. That's a good one. My next guy, I was so fired up when we were doing my show research, and I know you agree with me on this one, so there's not going to be any fight here.
Mm-hmm.
But Jalen Ramsey is my second most overrated player in the NFL. Now, if you ask Jalen, he'd probably tell you he's better than primetime Deion Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's not. Now, he's never been a big interception guy, so those numbers aren't very high. And he ranked a whopping 146th in passes defense per game last year. Now, people say, well, yeah, QBs are afraid to throw to him. That's why he doesn't get those big numbers. But why are they afraid to throw to him? Last year, he ranked 16th in separation. So he's covering his guy. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's there. But even though he was 16th in separation, he ranked 50th in receptions allowed, or receiving yards allowed. He was 73rd in catch rate allowed and 71st in coverage rating as a whole. So you're telling me that a guy who ranked 73rd in catch rate allowed is worth the 2 first-round picks and the 4th-round pick that the LA Rams gave up for him, getting him from Jacksonville? Not a chance, dude. And let's look a little deeper. Let's check out his AV. And AV is basically how valuable he is to his team. Last year, the league leader in AV was Lamar Jackson. No surprise there. And he was first, so he had 25 was his AV rating. Jalen's rating for when he played for Jacksonville last year was 3. And it was 5 when he played for the Rams. So now notice he played better after crying to get his way out of Jacksonville. He decided to up his game a little bit, play a little harder when he got his way. Now, to me, that shows he is not a true deep down competitor. You think J.J. Watt or Peyton Manning, do you think they care about the jersey that they're wearing? Not a chance, man. If they're on the field, they're doing everything they have to beat the guy across from them, but not Ramsey. Stephon Gilmore, who is definitely the best cornerback in the league, had an AV of 21. Tre'Davious White, he had an AV of 18. Ramsey isn't even in the ballpark of these guys. You know who else had an AV of 5 last year? Your boy, Ronald Darby.
Yeah.
Who everyone knows is a turnstile out there on the corner. Let me bring up Deion Sanders one more time. He had an AV of at least 15 in 8 different seasons. His last season, 2005, he was 38, and he had an AV of 4. So, yes, maybe Ramsey is like Neon Deion Sanders, but that's when Deion was almost 40.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Get out of here, Jalen.
Yeah, I'm not a Ramsey guy. He's on the par with Clowney with me. You got to believe in yourself. I don't knock.
He definitely does, and that's a good thing.
I don't knock that. I mean, you got to believe in yourself, but you also got to go out there and prove it once you get your way. And like you said, there wasn't that much improvement from Jacksonville to the Rams. So, I mean, he's out there. To me, at times, he's just out there just trying not to get hurt, not really trying to make any big plays, the ball gets thrown his way. I mean, like you say, he's not a big interception guy. Yeah, I mean, if I was a quarterback, I wouldn't be that scared to go against Jalen Ramsey. I mean, if I had one of the top receivers in the league, if I'm Drew Brees and I have Michael Thomas, I'm not going to be scared to throw it on Jalen Ramsey. I know that. So,
Right. And that was always a knock. Well, I mean, I say a knock, but like that's like the one negative people would say about Darrelle Revis is, well, he never gets any interceptions. You know, he may go a whole season and get one pick all year. Yeah, but he shut down every time a big name receiver came to his place. They had like 35 yards receiving. Yeah. Because nobody's throwing his way. You know, Revis Island, the moniker that they came up with. But that's not the deal. I mean, Ramsey is letting dudes catch the ball and giving up receiving yards. And I can't, man. I'm done with Ramsey.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. He can go. Oh, look good. He's on the Rams. They're going to go 3-13 anyway. So
yeah, you called it. You called it.
So yeah, I mean, all right. So my second guy here. I mean, when I was doing my research, I had a few guys in and out of this spot. I wanted to go defense. I mean, the obvious pick is to put Clowney in there, but to me, that's too obvious.
Agreed.
I don't want to keep talking about the guy. Everybody knows we don't like Jadeveon Clowney. I think we've talked about him probably on 2 or 3 episodes already, so I'll leave him out. So my second guy here. Now, I give the Eagles a lot of love last week. You know, I said Miles Sanders is going to have a good year. He's going to kill. He's going to have like 1,800 all-purpose yards. So my overrated guy, my second pick here is Alshon Jeffrey. I just can't stand – I hate the contract. And when I look at the stats, I mean, he's going to make like $16 million next year. He's hurt. He's coming off of like a torn Achilles or a Liz Frank, whatever, injury. I mean, he's not going to be worth a damn next year. I mean, he hasn't gained any more than 800 yards when he's been on the Eagles. I mean, he had that great catch in the Super Bowl. I'll give him that. But, you know, so did Corey Clement, and he's not that good. So, you know, it is what it is. But he's just – I don't know. He's always injured. I mean, last year it seemed like he didn't even want to play. I mean, he had 500 yards last year. I mean, it's just not enough for a guy making like 16 million bucks a year. In the last 3 years, he's caught less than 58% of his targets. I mean, it's just not for a guy that's 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
huge wingspan.
That's just not enough. I mean, like with Ramsey, I mean, at times I think Alshon Jeffrey is just standing out on the field and just a decoy, or he's just not trying. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. To me, I hate the contract, number one. But even if he didn't have the contract, I mean, just the expectation. I know as an Eagles fan, once we got him, I mean, I thought he was going to be like the next T.O. or something like that. And he's been an average player, but, I mean, super overrated in my book. And, I mean, it just sucks that we're stuck with that contract. But, I mean, he won't be on the Eagles after 2020. So it'll be somebody else's problem. But
I mean, you know, you're preaching to the choir on this one. I must have come up with 1,000 different trade scenarios in my brain to get rid of Alshon Jeffrey and his contract. I think at one point I was willing to give him up for like 2 pieces of double mint gum and a ham sandwich. Mm-hmm. Just get rid of that contract. And I mean, now we just comes out today, they might cut loose Deshaun Jackson if they can get the money back for the guaranteed contract, because he's an idiot and goes and says, you know, some terrible things about a group of people that I don't know what we're doing that for. So Alshon, as bad as contract is and as poorly as he's played and as injured as he's been, he may have to see the field this year, which, I mean, whether it's Eagles or, you know, any other team is, man, I just don't think you want that guy out there trying to make plays for your squad. I don't get it either. I mean, I was excited too when the Eagles signed him, thinking that he was, you know, going to be a big deal. And, you know, we had our true number one receiver. I didn't even hate the contract that much when he signed it. Mm-hmm. But, gosh, man, if I could get rid of one person on the Eagles squad, he's the guy I'm getting out of there.
Yeah, I mean, when he signed it, I mean, originally it was like a 1-year deal for $9 million. And then after that, he got that 4-year, $52 million extension. And it's just been – we're on the back end of that now. So it's just
I mean, he 1,400 yards receiving for the Bears 1 year, something like that. I mean, he's got it in him. He just can't stay healthy. And like you said, I mean, there's a complete lack of effort sometimes out of him.
Yeah. I mean, last year, I don't know. I mean, I know he did get injured, but I mean, I think before that he was just kind of out there and just trying not to get hurt, or I don't know what he was doing. Just out there, just not even really trying. I don't know. The whole thing with him and Wentz, they don't know if they like each other or whatever, but we'll see. But all right, I think we have our guest ready to go here, so I don't want to keep him waiting. So
awesome.
We'll be right back. We'll get him on, and we'll finish this up after we speak with our guest.
Excellent. All right, we would like to welcome one of Belhaven, North Carolina's finest, standout at Northside High School, a stud defensive lineman for the ECU Pirates, one of the best defensive big men in the history of Conference USA, 7-year NFL veteran with the Packers, the Raiders, the Lions, and the Bears, and Super Bowl champion, C.J. Wilson. Nice to have you, brother.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man. It's a pleasure to be here to talk to you guys today.
Absolutely. Well, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, just want to thank you for coming on, and another great Pirate. So you're all good in my book.
Appreciate that.
All right, man. I'll jump in here. I'm sure you're asked about your musical talents a lot, partly because it's not too common for a big NFL defensive lineman to be playing the piano, but also because anyone who does any research on you can easily find that you have an intense love for music. Now, lots and lots of folks out there playing sports, we always use music, before, while we're training, getting ready for games and stuff. So what role has music played in your life, and just how passionate are you about it?
Well, it's played a major part of my life. I tell the story all the time. My mother taught me how to play when I was like 2, and I didn't never take the real piano lessons that most kids get to do. But kid songs. Mary Had a Little Lamb and Nancy was a Spider, and I used to just hear her sing it, and I try to follow along on the piano until I finally started to understand that keys has a pattern, and if you learn the pattern, you can play anything. And so I've been playing music since I was small, all the way till I am now. I still play, and my dad, he's a pastor now, so I started playing for my dad's church at around 13. And I still play sometime when I come back in town or whatnot. But it's played a major point in my life. Even in the NFL, I had a keyboard, and I get there, and I sometimes some people go home and play video games. I did that too, but sometimes I was just playing my piano, just relax. It's a hobby, so it's been a great gift God gave me. So I use it for His glory.
Nice. Now I gotta add on to that, because I watched a video of you playing a piano. Did I hear "Don't Leave Me" by Blackstreet?
No, it was probably Alicia Keys. I'm a big fan. I big fan of Alicia Keys, and I like some of her music because she played the piano. And but it's either her or Brian McKnight. Okay,
I'm a huge Blackstreet guy, and I heard a little clip of it, and I was like, "Is that 'Don't Leave Me'?" I thought it might have been.
Yeah, I thought it's probably Alicia Keys, but I love Blackstreet too.
Nice. So we had Terrence Copper on, and he kind of told his kind of story from high school into the NFL. So, I love hearing the journey that you took to get to, winning a Super Bowl eventually with the Packers. So take us back from growing up in Belhaven a little bit, going to Northside. I know it's not a super big high school, and then your journey to ECU, and then kind of just transition into the NFL, and just tell our listeners how that went down for you.
Oh, wow. That's a great story. And I think about it like I remember the first day I went and signed up for football. My brother went down to the rec center, and my mother gave us $20, I think, to sign up. We signed up. I didn't know what to expect because my brothers always talk about football, but I didn't even care to even know. So we go out to practice. True story. The first time I ever hit somebody, I made them cry. And His name is Brett Smith, and he remember. He remembers.
Him out there.
Yeah, he remembers that we went to school together, and we talk about it all the time. Like, man, that was my first time hitting somebody. Hit him so hard, he cried, and I was like, oh man, stop crying. The coach was like, I thought I was gonna get in trouble, because back then my father didn't play, having 8 siblings, so I thought I'd get in trouble for making this guy cry. So I was like, oh, calm down, don't cry. Coach was like, good job. I was like, good job. So I get to do this and get a pat on my back, because it was always rough. I got 6 brothers and 2 sisters, so we used to always be rough with each other. So I grew up playing, and Bellhaven Rec. First year was pretty terrible. I didn't know what football was meaning, but I told myself, I said, next year I'm gonna be better. And sure enough, I took because I was a quarterback. I don't know what I did that year. I was on TV, but I did some amazing things. My coach always say, man, you was a great player. I took him all the way to the Super Bowl Pee Wee League. We won too, and then they went to middle school. I was a running back. I was a running back since I was 9 years old. I went to high school, and
man, if I had to tackle you, I'd make a business decision on that.
You know what? I was fairly small until I got to high school. That's when I started growing, got taller. I hit like 3 inches going into my freshman year of high school, but I didn't know what to expect. I just always felt like I was just behind, I guess, when it comes to football. I always knew I had the talent, but I never knew like how great I could be. And so I just know I just love to play the game, and it was like a hobby, I guess you could say. Then I started really loving football once I became, I guess when I was 10, because I took them all to the Super Bowl, and I liked the feeling of winning and feeling important to my team and having a team of guys. And that's when I just kept playing. And so I got to high school, and I wasn't an instant star per se, but I was a freshman on varsity, and it was pretty intense. First time I tackled somebody. First play in varsity, true story. First play, it was on the jamboree. The guy runs right at me. I was like, no, don't come. Oh, man. I was like, being on varsity, I don't want to let the coach down. I don't want to get moved back down to JV because I don't brag to my friends. I'm the only one on varsity. I was the only one on varsity, and one other guys, but I was the only one starting. Yeah. And so I didn't want to get thrown back on JV. So he comes at me, and I just wrap up, tackle him. He kind of runs me over. And after that, I was like, oh, I can do this. And so I played all 4 years. Then I got a chance to go to East Carolina. Don't ask me how. I was God. And if you know the story. So I went to East Carolina. I never played defensive line until I got to East Carolina. I was a running back, quarterback, and a linebacker. I went in at around about 215 pounds, I guess, 220. I would say no more than 220 pounds. I was very skinny. Wow. And I just gained weight, and I grew more. I grew a little bit. I think I grew about another 2 inches, and I actually gained about 30 pounds over the semester. When I came home for Christmas, I was over 250. And I'm home, and I'm like, and then so I go back to school another semester. Now I'm constantly gaining weight. I don't know where's the weight coming from? It's the muscle we lift every day. And before you know, I'm about 255, 260. They wanted me to either be a fullback or a linebacker, but the coach was like, CJ, your hand is going in the dirt. So that's when I started playing defensive line. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know nothing about defense. I played for all my life, never knew. And I just kept going, and just the Lord was helping me. And me playing running back helped me to play defensive line, because I guess I would think about what I would do in a split second. I know it's hard to believe, but you can actually think really fast in a quick situation. Your mind it's amazing how fast your mind works. So I can visualize, what I would do if I was the guy running the ball. Okay, he's gonna cut back here. I know he's coming. I know, and I'm running. It's like I know I'm not gonna run all the way upfield because I know he's gonna cut back to me. So I played the game. I didn't let the game play me. I played the game. I try to be smart, play in the system where under Coach Hood, defensive coordinator. I played in the system, and I just make the plays when he comes to you, because you ain't gonna make every play. And I just try to work very hard, on the field and off the field, school, and just gave it my best. And then I didn't even think about NFL until after my sophomore year. I started my freshman and sophomore year when I was in a magazine saying, "Oh, C.J. Wilson would be, he's one of the better, defensive lineman in the conference. I'm like, okay, well, I'm up there now. You know, my name's in the magazine, so I must be doing something right. And after my junior year, I just had a great season. I had 70 tackles, I think, and 18 and a half tackles for loss, and 10 and a half sacks. And it was a great season. And I just kept going there. And when they got the call for the Green Bay Packers, you know, draft day, it was crazy how when I came out, it was they lockout the year before lockout. So everybody wanted to come to the draft. So now if you was anybody in round third, you probably got dropped to the 7th, or you're a free agent, because you had 2 classes coming out at once. So they couldn't pass over a lot of guys like Eric Berry was one of them. Limbo Joseph, guys like that would have went first round or the next, but they couldn't pass over guys like that. So that bumped them up really high, and they took a lot of guys, and so unfortunately I dropped in the 7th, but it was okay. I just took it at what it was, and went to the Packers. And I ain't gonna lie, when I got there, and I already speaking my junior and senior in East Carolina, we had won the championship, Conference USA championship 2 years in a row. So when I get to the NFL, my first year, I'm, used to being a winner, and but I still didn't know what to expect. You know, NFL is different from college, and the guys was like, "We're gonna win this year. This is our year," not knowing that the year before that they had made it to, I think they was in a wild card against the Arizona Cardinals and lost. I don't know if you saw that crazy play at the end. They lost at the end of the game, and they was like, "This is our year. We're gonna win this year. We're gonna win this year." And that's why they kept saying. I was like, "Man, well, maybe we are gonna win." So we had a lot of injuries, and things happened that I had to play. And I got to start a couple games I played, and I really enjoyed it. Fondest memory of one of my fondest memory of my rookie year, I'm standing in the huddle at the Vikings. We was playing against the Vikings. I'm in the huddle starting as a rookie, and I'm looking at Brett Favre. I'm looking at Adrian Peterson and Randy Moss at all. And I'm like, wow. In my mind, and I knew how good. I knew I grew up watching Randy Moss and Brett Favre, and Adrian. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm sitting there, because y'all looking at commercials, when people, normal people look at commercials, and we stand in the huddle. We done got our play. We just standing there waiting for the referee to give the signal to go. So I'm saying, this is an awesome moment right now.
Yeah,
I really want to go ask this guy for his autograph right now. But I actually got a chance to hit Brett Favre. Made him throw. I hit him. I was about to sack him. He just threw an interception, and my teammate ran in for a touchdown. And I got a nice picture of me hitting Brett Favre. And I just said, wow, that's a great experience. So I got my career at Green Bay was great. I enjoyed it. We went to the Super Bowl. Started in the Super Bowl, and it was a great experience, And one only thing I would regret, I wish I went to the Super Bowl later in my career than I did my first year, because you really don't know the importance of a Super Bowl. When your first year, you don't know how hard it is to get there. So you're thinking that, okay, this is easy. This is easy. I wouldn't get it every year, but I never went back. And you think if I went later in my career, I would took it more to heart than I did when my rookie year. But I was a winner 3 years in a row, and going to the Super Bowl was a great accomplishment, winning a ring in the Super Bowl and whatnot, and just being a part of a great team and a great organization. So that's the story of C.J. Wilson.
Yeah. Hey, Dan Marino famously said the same thing. I mean, he went to Super Bowl, I think, his rookie year, and he was like, gosh, this is easy. We're going to do this all the time, and then never made it back.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're saying. Like, I wish I went another time, because I would have just really took more videos. I would just maybe even looked around a lot more. It was a long season. Most people don't understand NFL. College only lasts we only had 12 games at that time. And NFL, I had 24 games my rookie year. 4 preseason games, 16 regular season, and then the wild card plus 2 regular playoffs to go to the Super Bowl. So 24 games, that's a lot. So I did 2 seasons in one.
Yeah.
And then after you get, your first year get drafted, you coming off you leave right after we played what's that game? Liberty Bowl. I was gone the next day, and I trained after that to the combine. And I went to the Senior Bowl combine, and then the draft. Then you got the rookie. So I was gone. So it's like 2 years of straight football, and, it just nonstop. So at that time, I was just like, man, I need a break. I was focused. I enjoyed it, but like I said, I wish I could have went later in my career. But that's my story.
Good stuff.
Hey, that's a hell of a story, my man. So for me, one of my favorite things that I learned about you while doing a little research is that your entrance into college was, I believe, delayed due to some academic concerns.
Mm-hmm.
However, you completely turned that around, and you not only graduated with your degree in communications, but you were on the athletic director's honor roll for at least 3 years, I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we hear all the time about guys who do the bare minimum just to get by, hope they make it to the league. So what made you turn things around and really focus on your academics?
One thing is that some people don't believe in second chances. You know, they think a person do something and they're bad the rest of their life. But I take responsibility on myself that I didn't do what I needed to do in my academics in high school. So I thank God for giving me that second chance to make it in as a gray shirt, which means you come in and you pay your first year. And then if you qualify after 20, you got to take 24 hours. After 24 hours, you get a full scholarship. So I did that in 2 semesters. I think I had like 17 hours in my first semester. It was ridiculous. I had so many classes, but they gave me a lot of help. And I just think to myself, I said, if God give you a second chance at a university I'm riding the bus with people that paid for their school, and I'm laughing, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is what the Bible means. He make room for you. You know, your gift make rooms for you. And I'm thinking like, wow, I was blessed with this opportunity. I'm not going to mess it up or screw over with it because I want to party, you know, do whatever else a lot of people, you know, get there and do. So I just took it to heart, and I was like, you know what, I want to make my family proud. And if I don't make it in this football, at least I got a degree to fall back on. Because I didn't think I was gonna make NFL. I wasn't even worried about NFL when I first got there because I barely got to college. So why am I worried about NFL? You know. So I just took it to heart and say I'm gonna make the best of this opportunity that God has given me, and I took it in strides and just work hard. And I had a lot of help. You know, anybody in this world that's done anything from Jeff Bezos and Bezos, I think I said his name right, Zach Walkenberg, what his name is. And anybody that's anybody important, they had a lot of help getting to where they are today. And even on Warren Buffett, like he got a team around him. And so I had a lot of help, family, spiritual, you know, a lot of academic advisors and just people that helped me along the way. So it wasn't all me, but I had a lot of help. But I just really took full of my advantage, took advantage of it.
That's awesome, man. We have a lot of young listeners to the show. And kids still in school and working their way through. So that's a great story to share with them.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So you stuck around in the league for 7 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I looked it up, and it said the average NFL career for an NFL player is 3.3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you doubled that. So you made it 7 years. Now, what do you think was the biggest key factor to you sticking around so long in the NFL?
First, I always give credit to God because it was Him that helped me anyway. And I would think it was more so, like you said, I had a lot of help, but it was a mindset. It was a mindset that I got to do this for my family. I got to do this for my town where I come from, you know. It's not me that's dependent on this. I got a lot of people that, you know, I come back home, my mom, my dad, they tell me how they watch this and how they watch the game. And I knew I wasn't doing it just for myself. I was doing it for other people. So I say, you know what? You know, I got to stay here. I got to feed my family, you know, not just financially or food, but more so the passion of the game. That was their hobby, you know, Sunday getting out of church, going home, rushing home to see me play. That was their life for 8 years plus college, you know, so they had a good good time with that. So I was like, you know, I love, you know, giving them what they wanted. And I loved it because I mean, the experiences I got a lot of people. I got a lot of things I got experience in NFL. I mean, I could be here all night telling you things I got experience, and you will be pretty surprised. I even got to meet Obama, the president. You know, in the White House.
Yeah.
And
you know, I go on, but it was, you know, and that's why I played so hard because I knew that if I went home, I had a lot of family that was gonna be disappointed. So I just stayed in there as much as I could.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So this one's more of a fun question here. I'm a big foodie. I love to eat. I love to cook. So of the 4 cities that you played in, Green Bay, Oakland, Detroit, Chicago, which one had the best food?
Me and my fiance talked about this all the time. because she got to travel, come visit me, and we got to eat a lot of places. And we always talk about who had the best. And you just can't say the best food because, you got to speak the best sushi. You got to go to the best steak, best chicken, everything. So I would say, believe it or not, my favorite sushi place was in Detroit, Michigan. You will not believe it. I talk about it all the time. Like, you would never believe it. You won't believe it. But I guess it was the way it was the best sushi I ever had. And the next was in New Orleans. They had great food down there.
Yes.
Great food. New Orleans is awesome.
Yes.
In California. So California had a lot of Spanish food. And so a lot of Spanish and just a lot of Mediterranean, different types of food. Green Bay, I don't know. Green Bay, the food was good, because most people in Green Bay are kind of, the food is good. And so I would say that the steak, seriously, I hope they don't nobody in Green Bay hear that, but they love to eat up there in Green Bay, and they do it right. And I would say, so I can't just say all places that this place was best. I guess they just, if you think about it, like different places have different things that I liked it, different places that I thought that being in New Orleans or like different places would have better food and certain things, but it wasn't. So, but Detroit, I would say Detroit is my best sushi place.
Nice.
All right, man. Look, New Orleans is my favorite food in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take your word on the Middle America sushi.
Yeah. Oh, New Orleans. No, when it comes to facility, the facility, because if you're talking about just as far as like eating out in town, then I would say, like I said, I stay with Detroit. But the food, the New Orleans food every day was awesome. I'm in the lunch line. I guess it's lunch, but we eating lunch, and this dude, he's about 7 foot. He's huge, tall. Like I look behind him because it was Anthony Davis. I'm like,
That's
I give him a food like, this is cool. We share the same facilities. The NBA team. So they eat that food. You go on your side, they go on their side. But it's cool to see how tall they are, skinny but tall.
Yeah.
But I'll let y'all go ask some more questions. I like talking about it.
That's good, man. We love it.
What's the best place to eat in Eastern North Carolina?
Oh man, believe it or not, one of my places at best in Eastern North Carolina is a little small place in Little Washington.
Oh.
It's called Down on Main.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard that. Yeah, Down on Main.
Yeah, I used to work in Washington, so yeah, I've been there a few times. That's a good spot. Yeah,
they give you a lot of food for your money, and I'm like, wow, and it's good, really good food. So that's one of my favorite places to eat. Is Down on Main in Little Washington. Great place to eat. Just check it out if you've never been there.
Nice. Now,
last one for me before we get to the rifle round.
Okay.
So you've accomplished a lot in your athletic career. I think you played in the state finals in high school, semifinals, state finals. You had 37 straight starts at ECU, which is supremely impressive. You led the team in sacks. Now, not counting your Super Bowl win of everything you've accomplished in the sports realm, what's your favorite?
One of my favorite. You said plays or like? Or you said
like your accomplishments. So like,
my accomplishments. Okay.
Player of the year. I mean, anything.
One of my favorite accomplishments I would talk about is it wasn't even on the football field. It was off the field. It was a Terry Brooke award, and it was for my academics. And I think I kept I made over a 3.5 GPA playing football, and I knew that football means a lot, but I knew that without school, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So I think that was one of my favorite awards because, it shows me, because I always didn't think I could do it, because I had a lot of people even tell me I couldn't do it. And believe it or not, I had a lot of people tell me I couldn't do it. I wasn't going to make nothing of myself. So I had to prove to myself that I can, be in college because I didn't do it in high school. I didn't feel like I maybe deserved to be there. So that felt like it was one of my favorite awards.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah.
That's good stuff. So I guess my last one for you. You talked a little bit earlier about sharing the field with Brett Favre and Adrian Peterson and Randy Moss. So give me your top 2 favorite teammates you ever had and the 2 best players you ever shared the field with.
Top 2 favorite teammates. Off the top of my head, Ryan Pickett. And I don't know if y'all know who that guy is, but Ryan Pickett was my top favorite player. I went to work, and he was like my best friend. So I would say, so many guys I played with. But since they were my first teammates, Ryan Pickett and B.J. Rodgers.
Okay.
It was like 3 peas in a pod, and I just remember those guys. I have so many guys I could name
Yeah.
And two top competitors was when I left Green Bay with Oakland, and those guys, a lot of young guys, and we was about to play at Green Bay. I think it was the second preseason game. And I was like, guys, I kept talking about how good Aaron Rodgers was, but they didn't, I'm like, because they was, they would see Derek Carr, practice Derek Carr's a good quarterback. They would see other guys, but I kept saying, no, you don't know how good Aaron Rodgers is. I played this guy. I seen him do some amazing things. Like, this guy can literally, win the game for you. You could be you just everybody trash, but he'll make you. If Aaron Rodgers right now went to the Miami Dolphins, there'll be a playoff contender. You like, okay, this team can actually make the playoff. So he's one of those guys that he can go any team and make them better. Any team and just be a starter and be a star. So Aaron Rodgers is one of I would say, he was a great teammate, great person, but one of the top, players I played against. And I actually got to sack him too. It was I was like, I got to get him because I knew my time was about up.
Nice.
And I was with Chicago Bears, and Aaron Rodgers had the ball, and I saw him. He dropping up. He started to take off running. And I just took off running fast as I could. I was like, this is my time to get him. I'm thinking it's my time. So I dive out. I get him. And then he gets up. He's like, CJ, what? He's like, and we on the field hugging. And it was just great experience. And I would say
awesome.
The next one I would say after Aaron Rodgers would have to be so many guys, man, that was good. But guys that changed the game, I would just say Julius Peppers. Man, top.
Yeah.
I seen him literally. He was playing with the Chicago Bears at the time. I watched him for about three series because I was a backup. Completely destroy our offense. I mean, he made 4 plays in a row. The first down, he made a tackle. Second down, he hit Aaron Rodgers, made him throw an incomplete pass. Third down, he sacked him. Same thing next series. I actually watched this guy like 2-3 series just destroy the offensive line. I was like, wow, this got to be one of the greatest players ever to play defensive end. So
he's a North Carolina boy too.
Yes, sir. He is.
Wilson, right? Yeah, he's from Wilson. Yeah.
Yes. Great guy. So
yeah.
All right, man. So we got a couple just rapid fire questions for you. We're just gonna really quick 1-word answers kind of deal.
Okay.
So we're just gonna run through maybe, I don't know, like 4 or 5 each, something like that.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Here we go. Best coach you ever played for?
Skip Holtz.
Nice. Best team you ever played in college?
Best team I played in college would say NC State. That was hard. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Favorite stadium you ever played in the NFL?
Seattle Seahawks.
If you didn't play in the NFL, what would your profession be?
I'm pretty sure it'd be military.
Favorite Disney movie?
Disney movie would have to be, I don't know, so many of them. But I don't know. I think Remember the Titans. I think that's a Disney movie, actually. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Who's the best defensive lineman right now in the NFL?
By far, what's his name? Guy from the Rams. Can't think of his name.
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
Yeah, by far, he's about the best.
Red or pink starburst?
Pink.
All right. My favorite question I'm going to ask you all night. How many wins are the Pirates going to have next year?
Man, I was disappointed in my Pirates last year. I thought it was a slogan, make a pirate, make Pirates great again. I was like, make EC Pirates great again. I said I should come up with that hat. I know a lot of people would take that hat and wear it,
Yeah,
But I would say that they'll definitely be over 7. They have 7 wins.
Okay.
Speaking of Pirates, my nephew called me today, and nobody knows this because he doing the same thing I did. He repeating the same steps I did. He's over East Carolina right now on the football team. He's a walk-on, and he's same size, and he got the same potential I did. I said I'm laughing because nobody know about him. I'm just telling you now, and I'm working with him after the season. I'm letting coaches get him and everything, but I'm gonna keep working with him, training him. Defensive lineman. So I think that him and his little brother, he going next year, hopefully, or NC State because he's a big boy. He can actually get a scholarship for a lot of schools. But hopefully they go over there and take over where I left off. So just putting
Nice.
a nugget for you guys.
Nice.
What's the names?
Zakai Wilson is there now, and his
Okay.
little brother is Zion Wilson. He'll be there next year, hopefully, or NC State,
All right, man.
one of them.
Be on the
All right,
lookout.
Well, thank you for having me on, guys.
Hey, absolutely, man. We really appreciate it. You were awesome.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you, CJ.
I got another Zoom call, so I got to go right now. So I talk y'all
Oh,
later.
you got it, man. Hey,
All right,
appreciate
man.
it. Thanks a lot. Have a
Thank
good one.
you. See ya. All right, another great interview. I mean, it's going to be. He's another former Pirate man. He has some great stories. That whole, seeing Brett Favre and Randy Moss and Adrian Peterson. That's good stuff.
Yeah, bring on these NFL players. I mean, we never know what's going to happen. We never know how it's going to go. And it's been awesome. Just great interviews.
Yeah, and like we said, I mean, we're only 12 episodes into this thing, and I mean, CJ Wilson's a guy I went to ECU with. We were at ECU around the same time, so we're Facebook friends, and I'm basically just reaching out to him and asking him if he wants to come on. I mean, he has no idea who we are, so.
I love the stories. I love the stories they share. I could listen to it for hours.
Yeah, him and Terrence, just we're forever grateful for them coming on and just for giving us a chance to expand our platform here and, hearing their story. I love just hearing the story. Like he said, the whole thing with the first time we played football, first tackle he made, the kid was crying. I mean, that stuff's awesome. I mean, I love hearing their journey. And I mean, in his case, it seemed like, the NFL was never really, a goal for him.
Never even thought about it. I mean, he said, I never even thought I'd make it through college.
Yeah. So, I mean, he didn't really think about the NFL until pretty much like a year and a half before he went. So it's like, he wasn't one of those kids that grew up wanting to go to the league. He just wanted to play football. And like he said, it was a hobby. So, it just became his profession.
All right. So I guess we'll try to jump back in here with our most overrated players. And hopefully my person I pick will fire up people enough. They'll keep tuning in here. Right. Mr. Dak Prescott, we've talked about him quite a bit. And you even mentioned with Kirk Cousins, someone who underachieves all the time. Well, this is in the Kirk Cousins realm here. Now, not only is he overrated, but his Cowboys, I mean, they're overrated year in and year out. They have tons of talent, but they never get to the heights that they should. And he's the same way. I mean, Dak has a ton of talent, but he doesn't step up when he needs to. Much like Gronk, Dak has lots of stats that you could use to say he's not overrated. He was second in the league in passing yards last year. He was fourth in touchdowns. He was 10th in QB rating and 13th in completion percentage. But he has a lot of help. And that's not his fault. That's not really a knock against him. But he's got a solid receiving corps that just got better with the addition of CD Lamb. He has one of the best running backs in the game in Zeke Elliott, helping him out, keeping defenses honest. And he has one of the best offensive lines in the league. Dak's protection percentage last year, he was 5th. So there were only 4 quarterbacks who had better protection than Dak did last year. And so not only does he have solid weapons all over the field, but he has the time to sit back, find the open guys, and get the ball to them. Most NFL-level quarterbacks will be able to produce given Dak's situation. I know it's fairly common to know this in the football world, but last year against good teams, Dak did not do so well, and he dominated against teams that were not good and missed the playoffs. He was 7-2 against teams last year that missed the playoffs, and 1-6 against teams that did make the playoffs. During that 7-2 stint he had against those terrible teams, 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I mean, those are world-beating numbers. Against the good teams, the teams that made the playoffs, 8 touchdowns, 8 picks. I mean, those stats are not indicative of a great QB. He just, like I said, beats up on the teams he's supposed to and crumbles against good competition. And one more stat that backs that up is simply his completion percentage. I told you he was 13th, 65% completion percentage last year. But put him in the red zone where the pressure's on, it's crunch time, and old Mr. Prescott drops to 53%, barely completing half of his passes, which was 31st in the league. I'm getting closer and closer to being pretty sure that not only will the Cowboys not give Dak the contract he wants, but I'm not sure any team is going to pay him what he thinks he deserves. So I don't know, man. Dak is definitely overrated in my book.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to hear any arguments from me on that. Another guy we've talked about a few times on the show. Like you said, he might need to hire Kirk Cousins' agent because that's about the only way he's going to make over $30 million a year. Because I actually think the Mahomes deal, I think it kind of hurts Dak in a way because they're just going to be like,
you're definitely not getting anywhere near that.
You're not getting near that, and then you're going to say you want $40 million a year. Well, Mahomes is like twice as good as you, so you'll make whatever. You're 32 million bucks a year, and you'll be on the level of Kirk Cousins and all those other guys, and just take it until you do something. I mean, if he won the Super Bowl, maybe. I mean, I'm sure Jerry Jones would pay him $35 million a year if he won the Super Bowl, but that's not going to happen.
In order to win the Super Bowl, you have to beat playoff teams because you're in the playoffs, and he can't do it.
He can't do it. No arguments for me. It's hard to. I mean, he's definitely overrated. It's just hard. He wasn't a first round. It's not like he was the number 1 overall pick, but I mean, to be a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys and to demand the type of money, so he kind of brought it all onto himself. I mean, with all these demands, and I mean, that's all driven by him, and he just doesn't produce on the field. So I mean, I just don't see how.
That's the thing.
What his argument is.
He does produce on the field, but he only produces when he should.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like whenever he's faced with any competition, it doesn't happen. So he's got to show this year, if he wants money, he's got to get out there and show that he can, perform against playoff caliber teams. And if he does it this year, then hey, he's going to get a lot of money. But if history tells us anything, man, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I hope they do give him a ton of money. Good for him. So they can't sign whoever else they got. I don't know. They pay everybody. Ezekiel Elliott makes whatever. He makes a ton of money every year. Amari Cooper makes $20 million. I mean,
those O-linemen got paid.
Where the hell's the money come from? I don't know. Jerry Jones, who knows? He prints money, I think.
Figuring it out.
Yeah. All right. So, my third most overrated NFL is not a player. Okay. I could have put 20 other guys in this slot, but I'm scrolling through Facebook this week and I see 2020 top coaches in the NFL. I'm looking through it. Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, and then right below that, Sean McVay. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Now this guy, I mean, NFL writers, I mean, they slobber over this dude. He's a young guy. I mean, he's pretty much our age. He's 34, 35 years old. He's a good-looking dude. He speaks well. I mean, he pretty much got Cliff Kingsbury the job because they're like friends. The Cardinals bragged about how Cliff Kingsbury and Sean McVay are friends, and then all of a sudden he's an NFL coach. So it's like, I know, look, I'm not saying Sean McVay is the worst coach in the NFL, but he's definitely overrated, okay? Now, granted, the argument could be, oh, well, they went to the Super Bowl. He took the Rams to the Super Bowl. Well, first of all, I mean, they shouldn't even have been in that Super Bowl. If anybody can remember, I mean, that was the year they played the Saints, and they had literally the worst missed pass interference call of like all
that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Okay, so right there, they shouldn't even have been in the Super Bowl. So he gets to the Super Bowl, and then this boy genius offensive guru scores 3 points. And acts scared the whole Super Bowl. I mean, this guy's, he's punting the ball on 4th and 3 in the Patriots territory in the Super Bowl. I mean, he's running a draw on 3rd down against the Patriots. I mean, giving them good field position. That's how they scored the only touchdown of that game. I mean, that whole Super Bowl kind of stunk. I mean, it was like 10-3.
So I was watching it with a couple people, and almost half of them fell asleep during the Super Bowl. There was like 3 people passed out on my couch.
Yeah, I mean, horrible. And then, I mean, they had a good year, but they had that one good year. But I don't know. To me, he's overrated. And like I said already, I'm doubling down on it. I mean, they're going to go 3-13 this year. I don't think Jared Goff is any good. And Sean McVay, I mean, I don't know. He won't get fired, but he'll be feeling some heat, I think, if they go 3-13.
All right. So Cliff Kingsbury is not the only coach to get hired from just knowing Sean McVay. Some radio personality, and I apologize for not remembering who it was, but I was listening. It's like last year, 2 years ago. I think it was last year. And they were like, if you are someone who has just been waiting in line at the grocery store behind Sean McVay, you'll get an NFL job coaching something somewhere, a coordinator job, a positional coach.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And yeah, like he has done some good things. You know, he's been innovative in certain ways. And to be honest with you, he's probably gotten the most out of Jared Goff that someone could, because I'm with you. I am not a Jared Goff guy. If he drops back and his first read is open, he's a great quarterback. If his first read is not open, he is a deer in the headlights and has absolutely no idea what to do. So, I mean, I'm with you. I am all for Sean McVay. And that's interesting. You threw a coach out there. I wasn't thinking outside the box that much. So that is a perfect call, man. Perfect.
I didn't want to go there. And then I saw this little chart, man. And he was literally like, I think it was the third or fourth coach. It was like the top coach. He was like 3 or 4. And I was like, this is.
But why? Whatever.
And then he won Coach of the Year in 2017. I mean, over our boy Dougie P, which is a joke. I mean, Doug Peterson wins the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback, and then Sean McVay is Coach of the Year. I mean, all his accolades, I mean, that was a joke. The whole Super Bowl, I mean, that missed call changed the game. I mean, that missed call changed. I mean, I think the rule. I guess you can't challenge.
It did. Oh my gosh, it did.
You can't challenge pass interference now coming into 2020, but I mean, it changed the game for 2 years.
Yeah, but the NFL never wanted the pass interference to be reviewed. However, they knew if they didn't, the backlash would be too much. And so what they did is they get together with the refs and they're like, look, they're going to challenge these pass interference calls. Yeah. Don't overturn them. Dude, it was like 7% of pass interference calls that were challenged were overturned. I mean, it was like ridiculous. So then, it doesn't happen. So we'll just go back. We'll quietly go back to the way things were, how we, the NFL and Roger Goodell, wanted to happen.
Yeah, I think you have a better chance of getting coronavirus than you do getting it overturned.
Don't
getting it overturned. PI.
Oh, you're right, man. Sean McVay, that's solid.
And, yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying
100% accurate.
I'm not saying he's the worst coach, but I mean, he's not a top 5 coach. He's a top 10 or 12 coach, maybe, but not.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if they hit your 3-13 prediction, he's going to be nowhere near any of those lists.
Yeah, that seat's going to be hot if he gets 3-13.
Ooh, you might be right. The boy genius might be out of there.
Yeah, it might be actually post something negative about the guy.
And he might be one of those guys. I mean, there are certain people that are just better as coordinators. Mm-hmm. And he might be one of those guys. I mean, head coach is tough. I mean, when you're in charge of everyone at all times, it is difficult. Being a coordinator, granted, that's tough too, but at least you have your guys you focus on one side of the ball. Some guys just aren't cut out to be head coaches. Hey, listen, maybe he'll turn out to be great in the future, but right now, I'm with you. Way overrated. I should have put him in golf as a combo, but I just wanted to poo-poo on McVay a little bit. So. That's fine. All right, man. Another great show. Again, awesome interview. CJ Wilson, Super Bowl champ.
Good dude. Good guy. Former Pirate, Super Bowl champ. We got a lot of other good stuff coming up. We've been reaching out to a few other former NFL players. I don't want to mention any names, but we might have a guy on next week.
That's right. Another NFL guy.
Played with the Patriots.
And a Pro Bowler at that.
Pro Bowler, yeah. So I'll be our first. Right. I don't want to say. He might be our first Pro Bowler. I don't know. CJ was our first Super Bowl champ.
Super Bowl champ, yeah.
The guy we're having on next week lost the Super Bowl. So he played in a Super Bowl a little bit back in the 80s. So we'll see. We'll try to get him on. I think he agreed to come on. So we'll check his schedule, make sure he can come on. We'll work around his deal. And we'll talk to him about his squad.
Hey, and push the show. Get the word out there. Invite your friends. Mm-hmm. Get some shirts if you need it, whatever. Hopefully, our T-shirt guy, he's out of commission for a couple months, but hopefully he gets back on because these shirts they're going fairly quick. So
yeah, I have a few.
We'll get some more in.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I guess we'll post. I know you posted a picture of the shirts, but maybe we'll repost a nice picture for everybody to see and see if we can get some more orders. Start shipping them out.
Works for me, brother.
All right, man. Good stuff. We'll be back next week, same time,
Yep.
same place. So talk to you next week.
See you then.
All right, man.